Paul, we've seen China take action against Australian imports, apparently in retaliation of a call for an inquiry into the origins of the coronavirus. But this is pretty significant going into services, and at a time when, of course, we know that universities are already struggling with the travel restrictions.
Yeah, this is a big one, Heidi. The education sector is worth $13 billion to Australia's economy, and China is the largest chunk of the customers within that sector. $7 billion in 2017 is what Chinese students were worth to education. And last year there were 200,000 Chinese students in Australia. So when you compare that to the other retaliation we've seen, the barley exports, that's worth about $1 billion. 4 beef abattoirs were targeted, that's worth about the same. So this is a big leg up. To the specifics, China's Ministry of Education says the spread of COVID-19 globally hasn't been effectively controlled, and during the epidemic there were multiple discriminatory incidents in Australia against Asians. Now, the Australian dollar fell 1% on that statement. Australia is pushing back on these claims. The Education Minister says, well, Australia's had a lot of success in flattening the COVID-19 curve, and this is one of the safest places to come to study. And the Trade Minister is saying, well, none of this has any basis in fact in terms of the racial discrimination.
Paul, we continue to see China turning the screws on Australia's economy. Tensions have been going on for months now.
Yeah, this has been a slow build, and you can go all the way back to 18 months ago, which is when China began that probe into Australian barley exports, and that was all to do with Australia banning Huawei from bidding for the 5G build-out. And then, of course, more recently, we had Australia calling for the independent probe into the origins of coronavirus. And then just last Friday, Australia introduced tougher screening for foreign investors when it comes to buying sensitive assets. So there's been a slow build on both sides, and it just gets more and more tense. The Chinese ambassador had warned of exactly this kind of thing happening, and it's likely that wine and a few other agricultural products are going to be targeted next. But this has been going on for a while. Like, we had some numbers released on Tuesday that shows Chinese investment last year fell by more than 58% to $3.4 billion. So, yeah, the tension has been slowly building, but now we're really starting to see it erupt.